to maintain their Senate majority. All right, the first of many key race alerts right now. Too early to call in both of these Senate contests. We're watching very closely. We expect results coming in momentarily. We will share those with you as well. Take a look at this. In the first Senate runoff in Georgia, Jon Ossoff and David Perdue. Too early to call. David Perdue, the incumbent senator, as well. The other Senate runoff race, Raphael Warnock and Kelly Loeffler. Too early to call over there as well. We're watching all of this very closely. The balance of power right now. This is why it is so important. As of right now, there are 50 Republicans in the U.S. Senate, 48 Democrats, 2 of them independents, but they caucus with the Democrats. If the Democrats win both of the Senate runoff seats in Georgia right now, it will be 50-50. The incoming Vice President, Kamala Harris, is the president of the Senate. The Democrats will have the majority. That's why the Democrats need to pick up 2 seats, both of these seats in Georgia tonight, in order to be the majority in the U.S. Senate. We shall find out fairly soon. Key race alert right now. Very, very early, but the numbers are beginning to come in. Look at this, Jon Ossoff, David Perdue. Right now, Jon Ossoff has a tiny little lead, 212 votes, 52.1% to 47.9%. It's very early, 2,598 votes for Ossoff, 2,000 in that Senate runoff. In the other Senate runoff, Raphael Warnock, Kelly Loeffler. Warnock is ahead right now by almost 300 votes, 3,542 for Warnock. Loeffler, 3,243 votes, 52.2%, almost 300 votes, 3,542 for Warnock. Loeffler, 3,243 votes, 52.2%, 47.8%. Extremely early right now, but the Democrats have a very slight lead as these first votes are coming in. A ton more are about to come in. We'll continue our special coverage right after this. All right, we've got another key race alert. Very, very early, but right now, take a look. The Republicans, all of a sudden, they've taken a very slight lead over the Democrats. David Perdue, he's got a lead of about 220 votes over Jon Ossoff. 4,747 for Perdue, 4,527 for Ossoff. Very, very close, but very, very early. Similar situation on in the other Senate runoff. Kelly Loeffler, she's got a lead right now of about 200. Well, just gone up. A bigger lead, a significantly bigger lead, 4,598 vote lead over Raphael Warnock. Now it's 4,009 over Raphael Warnock, 62% to 38%. Well, 6% of the vote is now in. We have a key race alert. Check it out. And right now, the Democrats are ahead with 6% of the estimated vote in Georgia. Jon Ossoff, he's ahead now by almost 82,000 votes over David Perdue, 159,044 for Ossoff, 77,124 for Perdue. The other Senate race, Raphael Warnock, he's ahead now by almost 85,000 votes, 160,425 for Warnock. 75,693 for Loeffler, 67.9% to 32.1%. 6% of the vote already in. Election night in America continued. We have a key race alert right now. 11% of the estimated vote is now in. The Democrats still maintain a lead, but their lead has gone down a bit. Jon Ossoff, his lead, about 28,000 votes over David Perdue, the Republican, 53.2% to 46.8%. Take a look at this. Ossoff has 235,000 votes. Perdue has 207,000 votes. Remember, 11% of the estimated vote is in. The other Senate contest, Raphael Warnock, he has a 31,000 vote lead over Kelly Loeffler. 237,000 votes for Warnock, 205,000 votes for Loeffler, 53.5% for Warnock, 46.5% for Loeffler. 11% of the vote is now in. All right, let's get another key race alert right now. Take a look at this. 19% of the estimated vote is now in. They're counting these votes in Georgia relatively quickly. Polls haven't even been closed for an hour. The Democrats maintaining a lead. It's grown. 73,000 vote lead by Raphael Warnock over Kelly Loeffler, 438,000 for Warnock, 365,000 for Loeffler, 54.5% to 45.5%. 19% of the vote is now in. Jon Ossoff has a nearly 70,000 vote lead over David Perdue, the Republican, 54.3% to 45.7%. 440,000 votes for Ossoff, 371 for Perdue. Amazing. It's crazy. All right, take a look at this. We have another key race alert. They're doing an impressive job in Georgia. The polls have been closed for about an hour. More than 25%, 26% of the vote has now been counted. A quarter of the vote plus is now in, and the Democrats still maintain a lead. Raphael Warnock has a lead of almost 65,000 votes over Kelly Loeffler, 587,000 to 522,000, 52.9% for Warnock, 47.1% for Loeffler. Remember, 26% of the vote is in similar situation with the Ossoff and Perdue. Jon Ossoff, the Democrat, he has a lead of almost 58,000 right now over Perdue, 584,000 to 526,000, 52.6% for Ossoff. Perdue, 47.4% for Perdue. So the Democrats still maintaining their lead. We got a key race alert right now. A huge number of votes just came in. Take a look at this. 37% of the estimated vote is now in the state of Georgia. More than a third of the vote is now in. The Democrats have impressive leads right now. Raphael Warnock has a lead of almost 190,000 votes over Kelly Loeffler, 56% to 44%. He has 881,000 votes. She has 692,000 votes. 37% of the estimated vote is in. A huge number just came in. In the other contest, the Senate runoff between Jon Ossoff, the Democrat, David Perdue, the Republican, 37% of the vote is now in. Ossoff has a lead of almost 172,000. Now it's down to 164,000 vote lead over Perdue, 55.2% to 44.8%. Ossoff has 879,000 votes. Perdue has 714,000 votes, almost 715,000 votes. All right, we got another key race alert. Welcome back. 41% of the estimated vote is in. They're doing an impressive job counting the early ballots and the today ballots in Georgia. Right now, the Democrats have impressive leads right now. Take a look at this. Raphael Warnock has a lead of more than 207,000 votes over the Republican Kelly Loeffler. He has almost a million votes, 993,000 votes. She has 785,000 votes, 55.8% to 44.2%. Remember, 41% of the vote is now in. In the other contest, the Democrat, Jon Ossoff, he has a lead of more than 215,000. Now it's 204,000 votes. He has more than a million votes right now. He has more than 1,001,000 votes. David Perdue has 796,000 votes. 42% of the vote is now in, 55.7% to 44.3%. All right, we have a key race alert. Take a look at this. Almost half of the vote is now in Georgia. 49% of the estimated vote is in. The Democrats still maintain impressive leads. Raphael Warnock over Republican Kelly Loeffler. Warnock has almost 150,000 vote lead over Kelly Loeffler. She has 979,000 votes. He has 1,129,000 votes, 53.6% for Warnock, 46.4% for Loeffler. The other Senate race, Jon Ossoff, he has an impressive lead, 134,000 vote lead over the Republican David Perdue. He has 1,120,000 votes to Perdue's 986,000 votes, 53.2% for Ossoff, 46.8% for Perdue. Remember, 49%. Almost half of the vote in Georgia is now in. All right, we have another key race alert right now. The Democrats are still in the lead, although the lead is narrowing a bit. Raphael Warnock, his lead is almost 80,000 votes over the Republican Kelly Loeffler, 51.7% to 48.3%. More than half of the vote is in. 56% of the estimated vote is in. Warnock is ahead of Loeffler. The other Senate race, Ossoff versus the Republican Perdue. His lead, Ossoff, is about 62,000 votes over Perdue, 51.3% to 48.7%. 1.2 million for Ossoff, 1.1 million for Perdue. Take a look at the balance of power. This is what's at stake tonight in these two Senate runoff elections in Georgia. Right now, the Democrats have 48 seats in the U.S. Senate. The Republicans have 50. If the Democrats pick up these two seats in Georgia, it will be 50-50. The Democrats, though, will be in the majority because the vice president of the United States, the incoming vice president, Kamala Harris, will be the vice president of the United States. She'll be president of the Senate, and as a result, she'll be able to break a tie, so the Democrats will be in the majority. Take a look at this. We have another key race alert right now. Look at this. 60% of the vote is in, and the Democrats' lead has dramatically narrowed so far. On the Raphael Warnock, Kelly Loeffler side, Warnock's lead is now down to 40,573, 50.8%. 50.7% now to 49.3%. Just went down to about 37,000 votes. His lead over Loeffler.
Sure.
In the other contest, Jon Ossoff's lead is lower than 20,000 right now over the Republican David Perdue. 19,414 vote lead for Ossoff. 60% of the vote is in. Let's take a look at where things stand right now. 63% of the estimated vote is now in. 63% is now in. The Democrats' lead has narrowed. Raphael Warnock's lead is almost 40,000 over the Republican Kelly Loeffler. Jon Ossoff's lead has gone down to about 12,400 over the Republican David Perdue. All right, we got a key race alert right now. Take a look at this. 64% of the vote is in. David Perdue has now taken a very, very narrow lead over the Democrat Jon Ossoff. His lead, 787 votes. 787 votes for David Perdue over Jon Ossoff, the Democrat. 50%, 50%, 1.3 million, 1.3 million. The difference, 787 votes. That lead by Ossoff was incredibly much higher earlier, not that long ago. Perdue's lead has now gone up to 1,538 votes. 64% of the vote is in. The other contest, Raphael Warnock, he still has nearly a 25,000 vote lead over the Republican Kelly Loeffler. So we're watching all of this. That lead is now 17,900 right now. Close. Take a look at the numbers right now. Look at this. 66% of the vote is in. 2/3 of the vote has now been counted in Georgia. Look at how close it is. Raphael Warnock's lead is 12,395 over Republican Kelly Loeffler. He's got 50.2% to 49.8%. The other contest, the Republican David Perdue, a mirror image of the Raphael Warnock Kelly Loeffler contest. Perdue has a lead of more than 14,000 votes over the Democrat Jon Ossoff right now, 50.2% to 49.8%. Remember, 2/3 of the estimated vote is now in. It is incredibly, John, incredibly close. Both of these contests with plenty of votes outstanding. Mirror images right now, but these contests are really close. All right, we got a key race alert. Take a look at this. While we were in the break, Kelly Loeffler, the Republican senator, she took the lead over Raphael Warnock. 5,716 vote lead over Raphael Warnock. Very, very close. This could easily go either way. 68% of the estimated vote is in. David Perdue, the Republican, he still has a lead over the Democrat Jon Ossoff. 31,703 vote lead. 50.5% to 49.5%. Remember, 68% of the vote is in, but there's still plenty of votes left out there. It still could go either way. Let's take a look at why this is so important, what's going on right now. These two Senate contests will determine the balance of power in the United States Senate. Right now, the Republicans lead. They have 50 senators on the Republican side. The Democrats have 48. If the Democrats win both, not one, but both of these, it'll be 50-50. The Vice President of the United States will be able to break a tie. The Democrats will be in the majority. All right, Jake, take a look at this. Another key race alert right now. And all of a sudden, the Democrat, Raphael Warnock, has taken the lead over the Republican Kelly Loeffler by almost 20,000 votes, 19,160 votes. He was behind. Now he's ahead, 50.3% to 49.70%. 75% of the estimated vote is now in. Impressive how they're counting the vote in Georgia right now. Jon Ossoff, the Democrats, closing in on Perdue. He was more significantly ahead just a little while ago. The Republican David Perdue, he's still ahead by 5,600 votes over Jon Ossoff, 50.1% to 49.9%. It's close, very close. Both of these Senate runoffs are very, very close right now, with 75% of the estimated vote is in. We're watching all of this so closely right now. Loeffler is now ahead by 12,000 votes over the Democrat Raphael Warnock. She has 50.2% to 49.8%. 76% of the estimated vote is in. Perdue's lead has expanded as a result of Republican David Perdue. He's up by more than 37,000 votes over the Democrat Jon Ossoff right now. So these leads, they're swinging back and forth as a whole bunch come in, but there's still plenty of Democratic votes outstanding right now that still haven't been counted, especially in those counties around Atlanta. All right, we got a key race alert right now. The Republicans are ahead right now with 78% of the estimated vote in. The Republican Kelly Loeffler, she has a 32,000 vote lead over Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, 50.5% to 49.5%. 78% of the vote is in. The other Senate contest, the Republican David Perdue has a bigger lead, 58,000. Now it's gone up to 62, almost 63,000 votes over the Democrat Jon Ossoff, 50.9% to 49.1%, 78% Senate right now. The Democrats need to win both of these seats to get a 50-50 tie in the U.S. Senate. The vice president, the new vice president, to win both of these seats to get a 50-50 tie in the U.S. Senate. The vice president, the new vice president of the United States would be president of the Senate. The Democrats would then have the majority if it's 50-50. Right now, these two pickup seats, these two seats are so critically important to the Republicans and the Democrats. Election night in America continue. Take a look at how close it is. A very, very close contest. 79% of the estimated vote is in. The Republican Kelly Loeffler, she has a 38, almost 39,000 vote lead over Raphael Warnock. Still plenty of votes outstanding. The Republican David Perdue has a bigger lead over the Democrat Jon Ossoff, 70,000 vote lead, 51% to 49%. These are critically important races right now. The balance of power in the U.S. Senate is going to be determined if the Democrats win both, not just one, but both of these two Senate contests. In Georgia, it'll be 50-50. They will be the majority because the incoming vice president of the Senate will be able to break a tie. So that's why this is so important right now. We're all waiting, John King, for these blue counties, these Democratic counties around Atlanta to come in. There's still plenty of outstanding votes. All right, we got a key race alert right now. Take a look at this. Republicans are still ahead in both of these Senate runoff races. Kelly Loeffler, the Republican, she's ahead by 64,000 votes over the Democrat Raphael Warnock. David Perdue, the Republican, he's ahead by more than 94,000 votes over the Democrat Jon Ossoff. 86% of the vote is now in, so we're watching this very closely, but nobody's watching it more closely than our own John King, who's over at the Magic Wall. John? All right, let's take another look at a key race alert right now. The Republicans still ahead. Kelly Loeffler, she's up over the Democrat Raphael Warnock by some 82,000 votes. 88% of the estimated vote is in, 12% outstanding. In the other Senate runoff contest, the Republican David Perdue, he has a bigger lead over Jon Ossoff, the Democrat, a lead of almost 113,000 votes over Jon Ossoff, the Democrat. Again, 88% of the vote is in, but there's still plenty of votes outstanding right now, and I can see the Republican lead, both of the Republican leads, has gone down a little bit. They've shrunk. Take a look at this. Kelly Loeffler, her lead is now down to, almost 66,000 votes. It was a lot higher than that just a little while ago over Raphael Warnock, the Democrat. David Perdue's lead was well over 110,000. Now it's down to 98,000 over Jon Ossoff, the Democrat. So the Republican leads, John King, they're beginning to go down a bit. They still have impressive leads, but there's still, 91% of the vote is in. There's still 9% of the vote outstanding. It's a huge moment right now, 4 hours after the polls closed in Atlanta. It's a dramatic moment right now. We're waiting for a huge batch of votes to come in from DeKalb County outside of Atlanta. Potentially that could determine who wins these two Senate races. Take a look right now. Right now, the Republicans are ahead in both, with 91% of the estimated vote is in. Kelly Loeffler, the Republican, she has about a 75,000 vote lead over the Democrat Raphael Warnock. In the other Senate race, David Perdue, the Republican, his lead is more impressive, 107,000 votes over the Democrat Jon Ossoff right now. 91% of the vote is in, 9% outstanding, but we're waiting for a big chunk of votes. John King coming in from DeKalb County.
Right now, he has a key race alert.
All right, let's take a look at David Perdue, the Republican. All of a sudden, his lead was 114,000. Look at this. The Republican David Perdue's lead over Jon Ossoff is now only 2,140, 50%, with 94% of the vote in. All of a sudden, look at how close it is between David Perdue, the incumbent Republican senator, against Jon Ossoff, the Democratic challenger. 2,140 votes. Now take a look at Raphael Warnock. He has taken the lead right now over Republican Kelly Loeffler. He has 32,214 more votes than the incumbent Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler. 32,214 vote lead for Raphael Warnock over Kelly Loeffler right now. He's at 50.4%, 49.6%, 94% of the vote is in. All of a sudden, the Democrat, Raphael Warnock, is in the lead by 32,000 plus votes over Kelly Loeffler. David Perdue, the Republican, he's still in the lead, but look at how it's shrunk from more than 114,000 to 2,140 over the Democrat Jon Ossoff. Look at how close that contest is. Both still very, very close. 94% of the votes are in. A virtual tie in one of these races. The other race, the Democrat is ahead a significant number, 32,000. Let me update our viewers right now on what's going on. 96% of the estimated vote is now in. In one Senate special runoff, Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, he has a lead now over the Republican Kelly Loeffler. His lead is 25,765. He's got 50.3% to 49.7%. In the other contest, David Perdue, the Republican, he's ahead, but his lead has narrowed a bit right now. His lead is 9,120 over Jon Ossoff, the Democrat, 50.1% to 49.9%. Once again, 96% of the estimated vote in the entire state is in, so there's still 4% of the votes outstanding. The Democrat, Raphael Warnock, is on top right now by almost 26,000 votes. The Republican, David Perdue, is on top in the other contests by more than 9,000 votes over Jon Ossoff. All right, look at this. David Perdue's lead has shrunk once again dramatically. The Republican, David Perdue, his lead is now only 3,696 over the Democrat, Jon Ossoff. The other Democratic candidate, Raphael Warnock, his lead has expanded. His lead is now more than 31,381 over the Republican, Kelly Loeffler. So the Democrats are doing better and better as more votes, John King, are coming in from DeKalb County and some of these other heavily Democratic counties around Atlanta. We got another dramatic key race alert right now. Look what has just happened in the contest between Republican David Perdue and Democrat Jon Ossoff. The lead, it's basically tied right now. Perdue's lead over Jon Ossoff is 456 votes. Let me repeat that. Perdue's lead over Ossoff is only 456 votes. An hour or so ago was more than 115,000. It's now down to 456 with 97% of the estimated vote is in. The other contest, Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, his lead has expanded, almost 35,000 vote lead over the Republican Kelly Loeffler. 34,692 vote lead. Raphael Warnock over Kelly Loeffler. The stakes here are really significant, really enormous for the next few years as the Biden administration getting ready to take office. The balance of power right now in the United States Senate, 50 Republicans, 48 Democrats in the Democratic caucus, 2 independents who caucus with the Democrats. The two contests tonight will determine if the Democrats were to win both of them. And it's looking pretty good if you're a Democrat right now. If they were to win both of them, it would be 50-50 in the new administration. The new Vice President, Kamala Harris, is the president of the Senate. She would break the tie. The Democrats would be in the majority in the Senate. Chuck Schumer would be the majority leader. Mitch McConnell would be the minority leader. The stakes clearly are enormous. Welcome back. Election night in America continue. What a dramatic night indeed, and the stakes are clearly enormous. Take a look at this. In the Georgia 2 Senate runoff elections, 98% of the estimated vote is now in. The Democrat, Raphael Warnock, is leading the Republican, Kelly Loeffler, by 35,132 votes. He has 50.4%, her 49.6%. 35,000 vote lead. for Warnock. The other contest, the Republican David Perdue has a very slight lead over the Democrat Jon Ossoff, 1,888 votes, 50%, 50%. It is so close, this contest right now. Take a look at virtual tie right now, but there's still plenty of votes outstanding, especially in some of those heavily Democratic counties around Atlanta. Take a look at what's at stake right now. Right now, the Republicans have 50 senators. The Democrats have 48 in the Democratic caucus, 2 independents who caucus with the Democrats. If the Democrats were to win, and it certainly is possible based on the numbers we're getting right now, if the Democrats were to win both of these Senate races in Georgia, it would be 50-50, but the new administration, the Biden administration, would have Kamala Harris, the vice president, who is automatically the president of the Senate. And she would break any ties, so the Democrats would be the majority in the Senate. All right, we got another key race alert right now. Look at this. In the Georgia Senate runoff elections, Raphael Warnock, the Democrat, he is leading the Republican Kelly Loeffler by 35,802 votes, 50.4% to 49.6%. 97% of the estimated vote is in. The Democrat is winning in this Senate runoff election. The other one, the Republican is ahead, but look, it is so close. David Perdue, the Republican, his lead has now shrunk to only 1,208 votes over the Democrat Jon Ossoff. It's a virtual tie in this other Senate runoff election right now. Once again, 97% of the estimated vote is in them.
We have a key race alert for you right now. Let's get the latest on the race. All right, here we are. Obviously, you know who the players are now. Let's take a look at the wall. You have two different setups here, right? You have Loeffler, who was seated by the governor to replace somebody who left because of a health check, right? So now she's in there against Raphael Warnock. Warnock is, of course, royalty in Georgia in terms of his family. Ebenezer Baptist, his father, created that church with Dr. King. So, you know, a lot of legacy there. You look at the race, 50.4 for him, 49.6. There has been word that Warnock, the Reverend, is seeing this with such optimism. He may come out and speak. If he does, we'll bring that right away. Now, the other race, David Perdue. He had a lot of stink put on him because of his stock jockeying, and that's an interesting contrast. You know, Trump people are supposed to be about anti-elite. You don't get more elite than this guy, and yet he was seen as going to be very strong. It's 50-50, a statistical dead heat there with Jon Ossoff, the man who calls himself a journalist, a media executive. Now, he got some shine on him when he had a race in Georgia that he lost for the House, but it was seen as a very expensive race and showed potential. It's all locked up there. Now, so that is the key race alert. The key race alert. Here it is. All right, now, if we look at the board, you see right there, Raphael Warnock, as I said, the Reverend from Ebenezer Baptist, of course, made famous by Dr. King, using it as a platform for his message. He has deep roots in the state. He just came out and said, apparently, that he thinks he's going to win. Those are the numbers. 2,208,580, 2,172,931 for his opponent, who was put in the seat by the governor to fill a vacancy. Now, David Perdue versus Jon Ossoff. This is a dead heat. Ossoff has been creeping his way back into this race. 2,191,369 for the incumbent, 2,190,47 for Jon Ossoff. Why is there optimism there? Because in one of the 2 or 3 remaining counties with significant numbers of votes to still come in, they are overweighted Democrat in a way that could change this situation, Don. All right, we have a key race alert for you right now in the state of play in Georgia. Obviously, the Senate is up for grabs. We've just had a change in play. Jon Ossoff is now in the lead over incumbent David Perdue. 3,560 votes ahead. Statistically, it is a dead heat. But this is a fundamental change in the race. We'll talk about why in just a moment. The other race, we've already heard from Reverend Raphael Warnock, who came out and gave what apparently is a success speech. But it's not over yet. He is 40,575 votes ahead, however, over the incumbent who was put in place by the governor there. That race right now is at 1 percentage point, meaning it is clear of the 0.5 percentage point margin that you need to ask for a recount, okay? Now, very interesting. Just as we saw the change in the votes, we got a statement from Jon Ossoff, who said, from his campaign that he believes that when all the votes are counted, we fully expect that Jon Ossoff will have won this election to represent Georgia in the United States Senate. We look forward to seeing the process through in the coming hours and moving ahead so Jon can start fighting for all Georgians in the U.S. Senate. Remember, if Ossoff wins and Warnock wins, that means you have a 50-50 tie in the Senate, and that means who breaks the tie? The Vice President of the United States. Who's that? Kamala Harris as of January 20th. All right, we have breaking news. We can now make a projection in one of the two Georgia Senate runoffs. CNN will now project that Democrat Raphael Warnock is elected to the U.S. Senate. The pastor defeating Republican incumbent Kelly Loeffler. This puts Democrats halfway toward their goal of retaking control of the U.S. Senate. It now all comes down to who wins the other runoff, Jon Ossoff, who is currently in the lead, or incumbent Senator David Perdue. That is your headline. We are projecting that Raphael Warnock has been elected to the U.S. Senate. This is a night where it is worth staying up because we are living history. We have major breaking news from the Georgia Senate runoffs that will help decide how much power a president, Joe Biden, has with his agenda in the first weeks in office. We just made a key race alert and we gave you some new information. So let's show it again. Raphael Warnock, you see the check mark? We have predicted that he will have won the race against incumbent Kelly Loeffler. There are still votes to be counted, but his margin keeps growing, and the counties where there are outstanding votes fall heavily Democratic. So right there, you see a 46,551 vote lead. Warnock came out a couple hours ago suggesting that he had won. We have now predicted that that's the way it looks at this point. Georgia Senate runoff with Jon Ossoff. All eyes are on this race now. He is now 9,527 votes ahead. In the last hour, he went from being down 1,300 votes to up 9,527. That race is within the margin of recall. There are still votes coming out, and that's what just happened. We just had a little bit of a change in that race. So let's go to John Berman at the Magic Wall.
We have a key race alert for you now. So we already projected the Warnock race. Warnock is going to win over Kelly Loeffler, but votes are still coming in. Jon Ossoff has pulled ahead of David Perdue by 12,806 votes. CNN has not called the race. It is a key race alert right now. We're keeping a close eye on it, so we will update you. Maybe there will be a call by tonight or in the morning. We shall see.
Here is the state of play in a key race alert. All right, you see here that the Raphael Warnock race has been given to him. We are projecting that he will win this race. We'll go through why in a moment. Elected to the U.S. Senate, again, not only a son of Georgia, deep roots in their Ebenezer Baptist Church. He is there. He's been working for this community for a long time. But this is the race to watch. And right now, Jon Ossoff is 16,370 votes ahead. We just saw some votes come in before the break. We'll explain what's happening there. Perdue has a lot of wood to chop and not a lot of trees left to help him.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Okay, it's quite a morning. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and all around the world. This is New Day, and we do begin with breaking news.
It's all breaking. Everything is breaking.
We've broken it. We are moments away from hearing from Democrat Jon Ossoff after last night's historic runoff election in Georgia that has Democrats one seat away from taking control of the U.S. Senate. At this moment, Jon Ossoff is leading Republican Senator David Perdue, and he is expanding that lead. He is, at the moment, 16,370 votes ahead of Perdue. That's more votes than the total that was the margin that Joe Biden won Georgia by in November. Votes are still being counted at this hour, so this race is too early to call. We just heard from Democrat Raphael Warnock. CNN can project that he will defeat Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler in that other Senate race. Reverend Warnock leads Loeffler at this hour by 53,430 votes. He will become the first black senator ever to represent Georgia. The balance of power in the U.S. Senate is now within reach for Democrats. They are one seat away from winning back the majority in the Senate, which, of course, will have major repercussions for everything in Joe Biden's presidency and agenda.
Remember, all this is happening as CNN projects Democrats have won the first of two Georgia Senate runoffs. Raphael Warnock defeating incumbent Kelly Loeffler. And Jon Ossoff appears poised to defeat Republican David Perdue, which would seal Democratic control of the United States Senate.
We
To say in the midst of all of this horrendous news that's going on here in Washington, something that none of us ever expected we would see in the nation's capital. I just want to make it official right now. CNN can now project that the Democrats will be the majority in the U.S. Senate. Jon Ossoff, the Democratic candidate in Georgia, he is defeating David Perdue, the Republican candidate. Earlier, we projected that the Democrat Raphael Warnock will beat Kelly Loeffler, the Republican candidate. So it's 50-50 in the new U.S. Senate. But the new vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris, she will be, according to the Constitution, the president of the Senate, so she will break the ties. So the Democrats will be in the majority, the Republicans will be in the minority. Anderson, this is important, but let's get back to this explosive situation that's developing here in the nation's capital. As I keep saying, something I never thought I would see.